Welcome back to Beers Up Sports Talk. Sebo in the house, Debo in the house. Let's just get into the beers. D, what are you drinking tonight?
We talked about a couple times that we're going to change it up a little bit this year. So I am actually not on a beer. I am on a nice apple port from Echo Hill Brewery out in Munson, Mass. You had this that one time you came over for the fire.
Yep.
Socially distanced fire.
That's a hefty pour there.
No, it's a half a 12 ouncer. So it's like 8 ounces, 10 ounces maybe.
All right. I talked about changing it up, and now I have an IPA. But I just want to say this. This is Winter Hill Brewing Company, Sunbuzz. They're out of Newburyport, Mass. This beer's off the chains.
Nice.
Never had it. It's beautiful. It's delicious. I'm back on the IPAs. I'm sorry.
I love it. I'll get back out to the store. Just haven't done it because I just haven't wanted to leave since Sunday happened. Let's
talk about that real quick. Well, I guess we got to go into it. Let's be honest. The pod is a couple of days late. I'd like to say that we're in mourning. I'd like to say that we're kind of reflecting on a really good year that ended pretty bad. Maybe worse so for you. So I'm gonna give you the floor and let you kind of flex your intellect on what happened on Sunday afternoon.
Flex my intellect. I've never been said I had intellect before, but that's all good. That was a disappointing game. Packers came out exactly how they played most of the Week 6 game. Couldn't block anyone. Couldn't stop anyone from scoring the first drive. Man, they let up. It was 3 for 3 on third down for Tampa, and then that was a great throw. Multiple good throws by Brady. Towards the middle of the first half and a lot of the second half, the throws weren't really great. And I think the thing that gets me is everyone's talking about how King got blown by for that score at the end of the half, and why didn't Rodgers run it in, and why didn't they go for it? And there's the play that really got me was Redmond dropping that interception before basically like 2 plays before the touchdown pass. You got to come up.
He took his eyes off it.
That play goes, and now you're looking at 21-10. That could have turned it into a 14-13. It could have just kept it at 14-10. You never know. Everyone's going to sit there and say they let him play all game, and Kevin King gets called for tugging on a shirt after, Lazard was held for that interception. But, I don't even blame it on that. It's just too many mistakes. They abandoned the run game in the second half completely. Like those 3 interceptions when they went 3 and out, I think 3 times in a row, or no, they scored on 1 of them or 2 of them, but they forgot Dillon. He caught a ball, ran for 10 yards, had a couple big runs, carried a pile once. That kid looked like he was ready to go. Like, should have fed him a little bit more. I know they were down, but man, Brady, yes, he had some good throws. He should have been picked by Amos on that deep ball to Godwin. Amos just got out jumped by Godwin. It was disappointing to see, because everyone's saying how Brady carried them to the thing. I don't think Brady carried them. I think I truly believe that he did not play great, and the Packers missed out on a couple opportunities to get a couple more picks. And the last thing I want to say is, everyone's saying how Rodgers choked this away. Dude went three touchdowns, 1 interception, over 300 yards. And, when you're running around trying to not get sacked constantly, the difference between Rodgers and Brady. Brady got sacked once or twice, and basically other than that had a clean pocket, and he was just able to find receivers. When Rodgers was running around, and on that last play where he didn't score the touch, where he could have ran, like we all see it, we're looking at the TV. He should have ran, but not even, I think on the last drive, he got sacked from behind on the same type of play. He said he felt the pressure and he just didn't feel like it was going. I'm glad the special teams coach got fired, because he's been terrible. That unit has been terrible all season. I originally wanted Pettin fired, but I don't think he needs to be fired. I think he did I think they showed enough in the second half to keep him around. Basically, the Packers blew that game. They got outcoached. for the second year in a row after taking a bad loss in the regular season and losing in the playoffs, an NFC championship. I still think that, they're going to lose some players, but they're in line to run it back again. Hopefully they learn from their mistakes, but I will not pick them. Even if they go to the championship game, I'm not going to pick them to win it because it's always heartbreak.
Well, here's what I'll say to your point about Brady. People are going to say whatever that sounds good. That defense, to your point, kept Rodgers under pressure all game and kept them in check when Brady was throwing the ball all over the field into the other team. And you can say what you want about those teams in that game, and there were certainly mistakes made on both sides, but that defense did just enough to win that game. And they had to do a little extra because Brady kept giving the ball back to the Packers. So yeah, I'm with you on that. That one's a tough one because that's a game that you guys could have won so many different ways.
Yeah, and I actually, even when Jones fumbled that ball and then they went down and scored on the very next play to a wide open Cameron Brate, I still thought, I'm like, they're going to win this game. And I truly believed it. I was like, Brady does not, I honestly did not think Brady was looking great. He looked decent, but I thought someone was going to make that play. And that first pick, I was like, it's over. Like, this is where it is. And they went down, they scored. I'm like, baby, here we go. And then once it felt like all the momentum just dropped when St. Brown dropped that 2-point conversion. A 2-point conversion should not be the one that turns it around, but like it was just crazy how like the air came out and then they never really moved the ball again the rest of the game.
Right. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Run it back next year. That's all you can do.
I mean, great season. Everyone's, obviously Rodgers fed into it by saying everyone's future is up in question. I mean, he said, Mark Murphy said, we want him back. Matt LaFleur said, we want him back. Rodgers said, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be back. I think he'll be back for one more year. Now, granted, we could see something ridiculous with another quarterback down in Houston, but
yeah, he'll be back. I think that's the raw emotion of losing in an NFC championship in a year where you probably felt really confident about your chances to win the Super Bowl. I'm sure there was no doubt in his mind that they were going to win that game and then potentially win the Super Bowl. And so it's one thing to lose the Super Bowl. You've made it to that final game, but to kind of get tripped up 2 years in a row, knowing that you're on the back end of your career and still playing it at such a high level, it just stings a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Let's
talk about the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm going to be quick about it because the reality is they got out to that hot start. They were up 9-0. Everybody was really excited. But for the rest of the game, the Chiefs played like a team that's been there before, and the Bills played like a team trying not to lose that game. When you're in an AFC championship playing against one of the most potent offenses that's been around in the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you can't just kick field goals and be content. And sometimes you got to go for it on fourth down when you're inside an opponent's 5. And the Bills just played it safe. Now, don't get me wrong. Kansas City played about as perfect a game on offense as they could. Their defense was effective. It was really weird to watch a team that's really good at getting open in against man defense not being able to get open. So that's a testament to the Chiefs. Shout out to Cole Beasley, who played with a partially broken leg, which is crazy and probably why he couldn't get open the way he had done all year. But John Brown wasn't really available. Gabriel Davis was basically a no-show. And they basically doubled Diggs all game and made it really tough to make that happen. So kudos to them. The Bills played good. They just didn't play great. I mean, this was a team that was free flow in the last 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season, doing what they wanted to do every time they got the ball on offense. And they just didn't do that this game. They played a little bit scared, a little bit tentative. I mean, even Devin Singletary, who I feel like I've backed all year, like that guy took the ball a couple times in the second half and basically just fell over.
Yeah.
And like the fact that TJ Yeldon was getting real deal carries and real deal plays when he hadn't played all season, I mean, says a lot about it. So it's kind of disappointing for it to go out like that. I mean, I joked with somebody earlier this week, like I would have loved for them to just go for it. Like every fourth down in the Chiefs zone, go for it. If you lose 50-10 or you lose 35-21 or whatever the score was, like no difference. You still lost. And like, there was just a couple of times where they could have been a little bit more aggressive. I hope McDermott learns from this. I hope they can build on this. They've got a pretty good core coming back. They're going to re-up on the defensive and offensive line, I'm sure, because that's what they've done. I think they probably have to figure out what they're going to do with the running back position other than Zach Moss, because I just don't know if Singletary's it. They obviously don't have the confidence in him. He's the only guy left, and they still wouldn't play him. Right. But I'm not mad. Again, to your point, like, great season, best season I've seen in 25 years. Bright future. Allen's, if he keeps making progress, he's going to be really freaking good next year. It hurts to lose in the AFC Championship, but the fact that we were there, I think, is a testament to the growth of this team and the direction they're going in. So, I mean, I can't really be mad. I'm disappointed, but I'm not mad.
No, I hear that. I mean, that's Kansas City's MO, right? Get down and then come back and win it with like 40 points in 10 seconds. They just felt like they knew what they were doing out there. And the Bills were trying to figure it out as the game went on. And in my opinion, you get that 9-0 lead, you stay aggressive, you put the pressure on them to make mistakes. I mean, they didn't get any pressure on Mahomes either. And that's really tough, because if you don't get pressure on that guy, he is going to murder you. And that's what he did. And they played this soft zone on Tyreek Hill. And that guy, if you give him space, is going to run by you. It's just, I didn't really particularly like the plan, but I'm going to trust them that they knew what they were doing. Right.
But they were really good. And we weren't that good that game.
I mean, they're not the defending champs for nothing, right?
Right. Third straight AFC Championship, second straight Super Bowl. They're going to be really, it kind of not to say they're like a super team in basketball, but like, folks are going to keep signing with this team, because as long as you've got Mahomes and you've got weapons, you got a chance to win every game, especially in the playoffs.
Yep. No doubt.
Especially in the playoffs. And especially because Bieniemy isn't going anywhere, but that's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there, but let's stay in the NFL. Let's talk about a team that maybe could have hired him, but isn't going to get the chance to interview him. The Houston Texans, and specifically Deshaun Watson. It's clear now that he's probably not going to be a Houston Texan to start next year.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of teams out there that are putting together packages to try and trade for him. I got Jets, I got Dolphins, I got Panthers. I've read Washington Football Team. I've read Patriots. I just read Atlanta.
Yeah.
What do you think, D?
It's going to be crazy out there this year, because, Stafford's going to be gone. So you have Stafford and Watson. So you have teams going to be fighting for those two. I mean, if you're Watson, if you get the pick, you probably don't want to go to a New England, to a New York, a Green Bay. I'm just throwing like those type of teams out there, because it's cold. Like, why not stay at these home stadiums like in Miami, right?
Right.
But I mean, the best package I've seen so far has been between Miami and the Jets.
And I think Miami's is a bit better, but yeah.
And I've seen a lot of Fuller would be willing to follow him to wherever they go. So you're talking about a package deal with these two. He's already got that. Connection with Fuller. So we'll see what happens. I know he's got a one game suspension, but really, is that big of a deal? No. I look forward. I don't think he'll fit in New England. Just I don't know. I mean, I don't know who would. I mean, you have to have someone who really wants to do it the Patriot way, and Brady wanted to do it that way for so long, and then decided it wasn't time to do that. So Watson, I don't think would be a good fit there, but it's just crazy. You signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 4-year contract, and now you're like, yeah, I'm good. Let's go. I'd love to see him with the Washington team. I know you hate Snyder, and I understand why. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but man, the players would, I think, it'd be really good to see him with that team, with that young defense, and give McLaurin a nice quarterback throw to him. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I think he ends up in Miami, just because I think Miami has the most attractive package. I think if you can get Tua and this year's first round pick for, the number 4 pick, plus a bunch of other stuff, I'm sure, like, the Houston Texans have a chance to rebuild quick. And for Deshaun Watson, it gets him to a place where There's already a pretty good team in place. They've got a pretty good draft capital. They've got a little bit of cap room. They can make it work. I mean, sure, Washington football team would be fine. I think a lot of the other places it doesn't necessarily work because I just don't know that Deshaun Watson is going to want to go to some of those places. I know he's got a little bit of a no trade clause in his contract as well. It's just crazy for a top 5 quarterback to be switching teams in his prime. Yeah. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
And he's already signed, so it's not like you've got to like you have to trade from and then try to figure out how to sign him. Like he's already signed to a long-term deal. It's such a unique situation that like I don't even think people really I think they understand how big of a deal it is. I don't think people can kind of like capture what it's gonna feel like because this doesn't happen. Quarterbacks don't change teams in the middle of their prime because you don't get rid of your quarterback. And the Texans are kind of in this impossible decision. And the head coach they just hired, I don't even know his name.
It's like
I don't even know who he is.
Coley.
Yeah, he's
so
like
I read some things where his teams their offensive performances haven't been really that good. So and obviously you just talked about the enemy. Like
right.
I still don't understand. Like like how you don't go to Watson and say, if we get the enemy here, would you stay? Like I don't understand.
I think Watson made it clear that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
To be honest. I think the other reason why this doesn't happen is that players don't often have this much power, but because Houston has become so dysfunctional, and you can thank Bill O'Brien in the way he just ripped that place apart for this happening. Because the reality is, if you don't let it get this bad, this doesn't happen, right? Yeah. If you don't let Bill O'Brien trade half the draft picks for the next 5 years for Laramie Tunsil, then it doesn't get this bad, right? Like it's an unfortunate situation, but the Houston Texans did it to themselves, and now they're going to lose a top 5 quarterback, a franchise-defining quarterback, because of it. And that's, I mean, too bad, so sad. And I wish he was staying in Houston, not ending up in Miami, where I assume he lands.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, if you're JJ Watt, I know he is one of those character guys, but like you've got to say, I kind of want to go to a contender. My career's starting to run down. Might as well ship me off too. And if you're the Texans, you do it because rebuild that team. What do you think about Stafford? Where do you think he ends up?
I mean, you look at places like Indianapolis. You look at places like New England. San Francisco's been rumored to maybe be looking to trade for him. I like Stafford. I really do. I think he's, people say like, oh, he got to throw to Megatron for a couple of years. And like, yeah, he sure did. But like, for the most part, the Detroit Lions have been a pretty bad organization while he's been there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you put that guy on a team with a really good defense and you give him an offense that isn't reliant on him to throw the ball 50 times a game. And I think he can make some big plays. I think if he finds the right situation, he could have a really nice run at the end of his career.
No, I agree. I think I completely forgot about Indianapolis, but I think that would be a pretty good landing place for him with that running game and the pretty good defense.
That in San Francisco right there are like 2 places where he could step in and basically have a chance to get right into the playoffs, which he hasn't really had the opportunity to do. New England would be a little bit of a different situation. I don't know if like that really works out, but
I worry about New England. Their line isn't their strength. And, Stafford's had so many injuries over the years that he's not as mobile as he once was, we'll say.
What do you mean? Patriots fans will tell you they have the best line out there. I don't know what you're talking about. I got another QB question for you.
All right.
LA Rams. Open QB competition. What do you think?
I mean, you're trying to spark Goff, right? I mean, he's your.
Yeah, I just don't think that's the way you do it. Like, I don't think you spark by saying like we're paying you $35 million, but you're in a QB competition now.
I mean, I think it would spark him because you're talking about. I mean, maybe not because whether he plays or not, he's still going to get that money. So.
Well, I'm just thinking about what just happened in Chicago, like QB competition. Mitch Trubisky wins it, then loses it, and then has to get it back. Like, I don't think that those things necessarily work for a veteran in the NFL. Like, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, if I'm a veteran, I know like I need the support of the coaches and the team behind me to do this thing. if you're Walford or whatever his name is, the young guy that they have, and you hear QB competition, you're like, oh, let me show out, like let me just blow up. If you're a veteran, you're like, no, I just need y'all to back me so I can do my thing.
Yeah, but shouldn't you want to show out? Say, he should recognize he hasn't played great the last 2 years, and say, well, now I got to go earn it. I mean, I
don't know. I thought he was playing pretty good this year. I thought he was playing pretty good this year until the end of the season. I know he fell off a little bit, but like, I mean, I don't know. I think if you're, I think saying open QB competition is just a dangerous game to play, because then you're basically saying, all right, we picked you, but if you mess up, we're going to flip it.
Yeah.
And I think that just doesn't work in the NFL. You gotta commit to one person. You got to go for it. And if they don't do it, then you go to the other guy. But the flip flopping is just too much for me.
No, I agree. I mean, make a decision and stick with it. And unless it's terrible. I mean, if they come out and lose 4 games in a row, then maybe you're like, all right, now it's
sure. But I'll use New England as an example. Like, they stuck by Cam Newton, and some people say that's stupid, but like, they were committed to the fact that like, we're going to run this through him. And obviously it didn't work out, but like, I just think that like, if you're always looking over your shoulder as a quarterback, like it's a tough game to play.
Yeah. I mean, there might've been a little trying to not get a great draft pick and some of that type of stuff in there.
Sure. I mean, they're still like the number 15 pick, so it's not like they're.
Yeah, they had a lot better season than I thought most people people thought they would.
But if Stafford gets traded to the Niners, I just assume Jimmy G's going to end up back in New England, and Belichick's going to have his guy again.
That's fair.
All right.
I don't want him to go to San Francisco, because that means San Francisco's good again.
Right, exactly. All right, let's switch gears. Let's go to the NBA. Let's talk about our Boston Celtics. You're repping the green and white tonight. They're at 10-7.
Yep.
They've had an interesting season because Kemba wasn't available for the first month. Tatum got COVID. Half the team wasn't available to play. They missed a couple of games. Peyton Pritchard is jumped off, but now is injured. I'm going to give you 2 quick things, and then I'm going to let you get busy. Jeff Teague and Grant Williams, really underwhelming so far this season. I was really excited about Jeff Teague, but like, damn if he's not showing up. And Jaylen Brown's just going off. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there with you on Jeff Teague. Like, he had that first game, and everyone was like, "This was the best thing we've ever did." We have this backup point guard who is.
That was me. I said that. That was me.
No, but I mean, I said it too. I thought it was a great pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, Peyton Pritchard has showed out a little bit. Hopefully, when he comes back, he can return to like what he was doing. But with the COVID and with all the injuries, they are playing. I think last night in the first half, they went 12 deep in the first half, like 12 players deep, because they were saying, I think they're playing the Lakers tomorrow night, and they wanted to make sure no one was exhausted. And I think they thought they could beat the Spurs, doing that.
Right.
Like, that's what they're going to do all season. They're not going to, they're going to try not to burn these people out. And I think we talked about it before when we did our preview, and I picked over. They were literally, they were first place in the conference like a week and a half ago, maybe a week ago.
Without Kemba, right? Without Kemba.
Without Tatum for a while, with a lot of people gone, and they looked good. I mean, they've had some really bad losses against some teams they shouldn't lose to. Detroit being one of them, and
even really the Spurs last night, they shouldn't have lost.
They should not have lost that game. I mean, I was watching it; they were up 7. One of the players got a rebound from the Spurs, put it right back up, called timeout, and was like, "I'm going to bed, or I'm going into my room. I'm going into the room and whatever." Looked at the score at halftime; they went on a 21-4 run. Since the Spurs, I was like, "What just happened?"
Yeah,
it was over a 4-minute period. They had up 21 points in 4 minutes. The good news is they still have a top 3 scoring defense in the East, even letting that happen. The defense is going to be good. Marcus Smart is good. Tristan Thompson needs to start scoring some more.
Right.
I mean, that's still, I mean, Tice runs around. We're still that big guy away, and that's what we kind of talked about at the beginning of the year. And, because we saw Joel Embiid eat us up 2 nights in a row. 40 and then like 32. Like, dude, we're not going to stop people like that. So
Right.
when we get to Anthony Davis, Celtics are going to be in trouble.
Right.
So hopefully,
I'll say this: they've had to rely on some guys that they haven't had to rely on in the past couple of weeks. They haven't really been able to get the full roster together. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard has played really well, and he's injured right now, and so like you get Kemba back, but you lose him. They need to figure out what their roster is going to look like, what their lineup is going to look like when everybody's healthy. Hopefully, everybody's healthy. Again, Kemba's only played 5 games; he's only playing 25 minutes. Smart's got the injured shoulder; he hasn't been shooting it well. Like, they're working things out. I'm happy to let them work it out now and hopefully be healthy by the end of the season. I'm really impressed with what Jaylen Brown's doing.
Yes.
Because it's more than just him like scoring more points. He's just way more confident out there. And especially with when Tatum was out, you could just see him be like, no, guys, don't worry about it. I got this.
The one thing, no, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, the one thing about Tatum I've noticed when I've watched, even like last year in the playoffs and the couple games, is he likes to force some really bad shots. Like, layups he probably shouldn't be taking, and like he misses them terribly. He's got to figure out when it's his shot and when he's got enough support on this team. But like, I get it, he wants to be the man. I get it, but it like sometimes I'm like, he's out of control and just missed 4 shots that he shouldn't even have taken. Never mind. And
it's tough. It's tough because he's like, what, 22 years old. Right. He's insanely talented. He can do just about anything he wants on the field, or I mean, on the court. And so, like, in his mind, nothing is out of control, right? In his mind, nothing is a bad shot because he's that freaking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and clearly, Brad Stevens is going to let these guys just keep doing what they're doing. Like his plan is to let them be free on offense. You got an open shot, you take the open shot. Now, maybe some of those shots aren't open for him, but like clearly, like his step back, step to the side 3, which sometimes I'm like, it's an okay shot in their mind. So like, it's just one of those things where like he's still a young guy, they're still getting better. Like this core is solid. I still love what Daniel Tice is doing. I like what Tristan Thompson's doing. The bench is I mean, Time Lord is playing a little bit better this year. He seems like he's a little bit more active. He's healthy. That's a big thing. But yeah, I mean, they got to get healthy. They got to get the lineups right. When Kemba's playing 30 minutes, 35 minutes a game, they're going to be a better team.
No doubt.
All these people talking about trading Kemba can get out of my face too. Especially some talk about like trading for like Lonzo Ball. Please stop. Please stop. I don't.
At one point, they were talking about getting Harden, and I don't care what he's doing. I didn't want Harden on the team, so people talk crazy stuff.
Right. Though I did see last night that all 3 of those dudes scored like 25 or more points, and I was like, damn, the Nets could be really scary if they wanted to. But they were in OT with the Hawks, so it is what it is.
Didn't they lose?
All right. They might have lost the game. I don't know, man. All right, let's go to last call, presented by Progression Brewery. What do you got, D?
So over the last like week or two, we've lost some big sports people out there. We've lost, actually, I remember another one, Don Sutton of the Braves and others, Tommy Lasorda, Ted Thompson, former GM of the Packers, and the home run king, Hank Aaron. So I just want to say rest in peace to all these guys. You know, I didn't watch Sutton, didn't watch Lasorda. I mean, I watched him coach, and I didn't watch Hank Aaron, but I mean, all the stuff that Hank Aaron did for the game of baseball and for people of color, just to break that barrier. You know, all these people, Ted Thompson, Packer got Aaron Rodgers in there. So won a Super Bowl. So rest in peace to all them this week. And I know there's more, but you know, we can't, and I might as well shout out, it's been a year since Kobe passed and his daughter Gianna and all the other, and I feel awful for not knowing the other families on that plane, on that helicopter crash, but you know, to all them families, you know, we're still thinking about you all. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's been a year since Kobe. That's kind of wild to even think about. All right, I'm going to step outside of sports, and I want to talk a little bit about what's been happening in the stock market the last couple of days. If you haven't been paying attention, you probably live under a rock, and that's probably a good place to be. But I'm just going to say it as simply as I can. Common folk, regular people out there,
started noticing that these crazy ass hedge funds were shorting stocks like GameStop and AMC and some of these other ones, and decided, you know what? We can go out buy the stock. Let's just go buy the stock. And it caught fire and the prices soared. And that's how the stock market's supposed to work, right? People buy stock, the stock goes up. People sell stock, the stock goes down. That's just how it works, except when you outsmart the hedge funds. And so today, the stock market folks, some of these apps like Robinhood, put the brakes on all of it. Basically saying, stop doing what you're supposed to be doing, people. Stop buying and selling stocks because you're messing up our cash flow. Capitalism at its finest, people. Absolutely banana lands. The rich people got mad because they got outplayed, and they were able to stop the market in its tracks, and it is crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. But yet, two senators can go out and sell all their stocks when they find out the coronavirus is coming, and no big deal about that, with their insider trading. But, you got to be rich for it to not matter.
And just a general reminder that if you are rich, you get to play by different rules. And that rich doesn't necessarily mean that you made all that money. You might have got that money in many different ways, including making money off the stock market, which a whole bunch of people decided to do in the last couple of days, but the rich folks got mad and made it stop.
And now there's going to be crazy regulations that are going to be that will favor hedge fund managers.
Of course. Fuck you, hedge fund managers. Fuck you guys. Shout out to the common folk. Good work, people.
No
That's
doubt.
it. That's all I got to say. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.